And welcome back to QHLAN 2017, and I think we have a very special treat here. We saw Thor and Oscar on a team yesterday, the 12 and 10-year-old from Denmark?
Denmark, yeah.
They're going to be playing right now. I was going to hype them up a little bit, but they're eager to get going. This is cool. Well, we see a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old duel in QuakeWorld. I think when we saw the TDM yesterday, Thor seemed like he was definitely on point. And looking at him right now, I mean, look at this.
This looks like any other player in QuakeWorld, right?
It's pretty awesome. He's got his priorities right. He knows where he wants to be. He's got a
trick
rocket jump. And
going all ham on his little brother.
I don't know how often they actually play against each other, or if they just do TDM with other players. I think I might have heard beforehand that they might not have wanted to duel each other just to avoid any hurt feelings, but this is esports.
Yep.
We like the drama, so we're going to force these children to fight for our pleasure.
Yeah, I guess we are, but I mean, looking at Thor, he seems so confident. Like, looks like he's been playing this game for so many years.
That was some good LG coming out of Oscar to put some aggression on the red armor before Thor could go up for it.
Oscar's gonna pick up both the Mega and the Yellow. Kind of losing track of Thor for a little second there, but
one of those rockets from Oscar would have been incredibly dangerous. But
that was a
Thor
nice
with
rocket
some really nice cell usage there.
Yep.
It's going to be going up top map, but now he's going to leave a little bit and search for some ammo. A little bit of an LG tickle coming from his brother. Thor taking away red armor now and maintaining control on the top. Oscar with the nice control. Happened maybe a little bit late after the response on the red armor. Oscar had the opportunity to go for Mega there, but Thor was able to get in front of him. But a lot of that spam, those were both kind of messy fights, and that means that Thor's stack is essentially gone, giving Oscar a big opportunity.
He seems to understand that the red is going to spawn. Perfect timing there. Keeping the exact 20 seconds. I mean, I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. This looks like any other Quake player.
Yeah.
Of like maybe a Div 2 or Div 1.
Absolutely.
Even, in
he could probably beat me. Yeah.
So this is amazing, if you ask me. Oscar trying his best, of course, to make this a little bit harder for Thor.
And his spam is finding its mark from time to time, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And he's found a pretty good corner to stake a fight in. Thor didn't take any armor damage at that point, though. Good LG coming out of Thor.
It's a perfect LG. Oh, gets a little pissed, but didn't make the rocket jump. You see that he was shaking his mouse a little bit. And but still, perfect control. Let's see if he understands the Mega, though. The Mega is up. Maybe he just didn't have the timing on it.
Oscar may be trying to just rush Thor into the ground here. But the timing of the fights has been a little bit off, allowing Thor to recover pretty quickly after each fight. And so the strategy of just grabbing a weapon and going full ham on your opponent can indeed work, but you need to make sure that you're doing so between big opportunities to recover the stack. Otherwise, you're just going to be giving some frags away there.
Oh, and a nice mid-air rocket from Oscar. Unfortunately, he had no stack whatsoever, so Thor can still win the fight. Yeah, so it seems that Oscar isn't bad aim-wise in any way, but I think that Thor understands the items a little bit more and how to control them. Because he's done a great job of picking up the red and picking up the Mega. And here we go, another red for Thor.
He's going to come back into it, so Oscar should know where he is. He just didn't have the weapons to bring into that fight. So, you know, Aerowalk and QuakeWorld in general, you know, you kind of actually have to intentionally go get a lot of weapons. They're not usually placed in a really convenient place to just pick them up and go. LG and rockets are going to be the biggest deal here. There are two rocket launcher spawns, of course, one at the top and one down in the corner. It's actually a little bit different from most editions of Aerowalk. Nice spam coming out of Thor.
Nice prediction rocket from Thor.
And Thor, I gotta hand it to him. He's doing a very good job of going, okay, if I don't have a reason to leave the lower teleporter corner, I don't have to. I go back up for red when I need red. I make sure that I'm not going to be getting an attack from up top. But other than that, I can maintain control of this teleporter, put some pressure on my opponent when I need to, but not give up priority on the red armor. Oh, he missed the spawn of Oscar on the red, but unfortunately for Oscar, the red wasn't quite up.
Oh. And unfortunately, no frags thus far from Oscar, but it's not that he doesn't hit his shots. It's just that Thor is always so stacked.
Yeah.
So even though Oscar hits them, look at that. There's so many good rockets from Oscar, but Thor had the full red armor, and he's gonna restack on the yellow now. And it really looks like Thor understands the movement of QuakeWorld.
Yeah.
Perfect rocket jumps and understands the bunny hopping.
And he knew that he, could recover a little bit at upper red armor and make sure that he can get back into a safe position. I mean, he spent some time on the other side of the map just to get some health, but he didn't stay there very long. Made sure that that's going to be Oscar's domain for the moment.
Yeah, you can see that Thor has been spectating the real good players like BPS and Recall and Milton and those on this map. That on that ledge down there is a very good place just to rack up spawn frags and try to shut down the map from your opponent. And Thor evidently just took his place there and made his fortress.
He knew he could spend a little bit of time away from the red before it came back up. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I saw them taking a few photos with Milton and some of the other players. Huge grins. It was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, they are idols for these young players. And I mean, Thor is on his way to become a really good player.
Yeah, this is actually incredibly impressive. We saw a little bit of him in 2v2 where he was really kind of holding his own. But here in Aerowalk, you can actually see that he's got a lot of these fundamental things of how to play Aerowalk down pat.
His positioning is correct. He gets the spawn frags. So I'm super impressed with this guy. And he's 12 years old. He's extremely
I'm really amused
small.
that they actually advertise their ages on their tags.
Yeah.
It's really hilarious. Oh, he's got the sneak on
Oh,
Oscar.
he's gonna mess a little bit with his brother.
Right
Gonna
behind
sneak
you.
up on him.
But actually, that was a good response from Oscar. He turned right around with a rocket and made Thor have to back up. He didn't get a frag out of that.
Yeah.
Still managed to get that red armor, though. But I think as soon as Oscar manages
gun.
to get some jumps over to the red, he's going to be a bit more scary. Because his spam and his defensive rockets have been keeping Thor stacked down.
Yeah. So the only difference really in this game is the item control.
Yeah.
Thor really understands how to control the items, and that's a nice lightning gun from Oscar, denying Thor the red armor there, and he's gonna pick it up. Oscar is still very low on HP though, I think I saw, so this might be a hard fight still, but all the armor gone from Thor.
And one thing I think both of these guys have in their head, which is really great, especially to see out of anybody playing a first-person shooter, is realizing that this is a game where you don't have to finish every fight. If it's not going your way, try to find a way out.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep pushing forward and forward until one of you dies. We used to do a lot of King of the Hill stuff with a lot of new Quake players who have never really played much Quake before, and that, I think, would be like the #1 fundamental thing that you have to understand about these games, is that you can break away from fights if you don't overcommit.
Yeah, there's one particular player in the QuakeWorld scene who's the best in the world at knowing when to back off and just survive, and his name is Milton. He hardly ever dies, especially in 4-on-4. 4-on-4, it's so hard to survive because of all the boomsticks coming at you and all the incoming damage all the time, but somehow he always survives, and that's a very good showcasing of how to decide whether to keep fighting or back off.
Especially in 4-on-4 where, dropping your backpack would be really bad news for your entire team. So it's huge.
So in this game, Aerowalk, I'm not sure if Thor picked this. Maybe it's his favorite, or if Oscar wanted it.
Wow, that's pretty good OG.
Yeah. So I mean, the aim of Oscar is on point, I would say. He had a couple of really good rockets and a solid lightning gun. What he needs to work on is controlling the map and item timers. Oh.
Nice, he manages to take away the spawn LG there. But Thor is able to push him off of the actual, the spawn RA. He's able to keep him off the lightning gun and put in frag number 38 with the last minute coming along. Oscar was at -1 for a little bit, but he made that frag back.
Yep.
See if he can get one on the board here.
2 great rockets from Oscar.
Yeah. All right,
Could we switch over for the last seconds just to see what Oscar's doing?
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be backing out of these fights here, looking for Thor. And again, really good defensive rockets there. Definitely making Thor pay for these fights, but really good spam coming out of Thor. He's also spamming off on a lot of the spawns and seeing if he can get any free hits.
And
Nice.
okay, so Oscar understands the movement as well. I saw him surfing a little bit in Counter-Strike earlier. And the movement is very similar with the air strafe and all that. Anyways, so Thor pretty much dominant in that game, but
We're going to be finding out what the next map is here pretty soon. And again, these guys are two young Danish brothers. And we're going to be going into map 2. That's going to be the first one going over to Thor, who's got exactly 2 years over his brother.
Yeah. And I think Thor has been playing since he was 10, I think.
Right.
And Oscar was 8 by that time. I mean, this is so amazing.
So in all actuality, Oscar has more potential total time played in QuakeWorld if he keeps at it.
Yeah.
All right, looks like they're going to be going over to DM4 after all.
DM4.
Wow, this should be really fun between them. What do you think?
Yeah, so we saw earlier, yesterday, that Thor seemed very confident on this map. He got the red armor spawn, and did we lose the players?
No, they're just in spec right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Thor was very, very confident on DM4. He got the red armor spawn in the 2-on-2, and just immediately, no fear, Rocket jumped up to the lightning gun and getting a few frags. So he looked very confident. So I think this is going to be a very tough one for Oscar as well. But Thor, what a young kid, and playing QuakeWorld, this is so amazing to us old guys.
Yeah. Again, just the amount of dedication it takes to get into Quake. It's definitely got a lot of skill sets that you need to develop simultaneously to have any fun at all.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. I mean, when they first tried it, their father showed it to them and let them play it and try it. And when they hopped on a server and got completely smashed by whoever, somehow they kept playing.
Right.
Like most players would just stop playing, and well, that wasn't fun, getting wrecked like 60-0. But these guys have just kept going and kept trying and developed a pretty good skill.
Absolutely. All right, they should be, I don't know what they're doing right now.